guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Crystal and I'm a fourth year medical student, and I have my lovely roommate, Bretta.
Hi guys.
She's also a fourth year medical student, and we just wanted to talk about how like COVID-19 has impacted medical students, specifically like us, and just what's been going on in like medical community. So let's start off by talking about what were we doing when, like, where were we when the lockdown of COVID, like the state shutdown happened. So we live in New Jersey, right? And we go to Rutgers, New Jersey Medical School, which is in North Jersey, which is like one of the hardest hit COVID places. So Bretta, what were you doing when you got the news? And what was the news?
So I was on my neurology clerkship. We were on week 2. It was a Monday. Like, I know the details, yo. I was in the lunchroom, and you know, there had been a lot of whispers and talks about like school being closed, but like nobody really thought that was gonna happen. Like, what, med school be on pause? That doesn't seem likely. And then all of a sudden you hear somebody say, yo, check your email, check your email. And then we look and it said all clinical rotations are like not canceled, but
no, it was like something effective immediately.
Yeah, like until further notice. So yeah, and like, you know, I was eating lunch with my residents and the med students, and literally I was like, all right, peace out, you guys. Like, I'm like, I'm not going back to clinicals after this. But like, the residents were really understanding. They're like, no, you guys shouldn't be here anyway. So yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, so it was like, I don't know, yeah, so like everyone didn't see it coming, but they were like saying like it's gonna happen. I remember like showing up that morning, and like I was like going to my locker to get some things, and like one of my classmates was like we're just chit-chatting. I was like, today's gonna be the day that they send us home, because my residents kept saying, I was on internal medicine, I forgot to say that. So I was on my last rotation, I was on internal medicine. I was like on week 5 of 10, and I was joking like, oh, today's gonna be the day that they send us home for good. But like, no one thought it could happen, because medical school is like on a strict schedule, right? Like your third year for us is 12 full months of like rotation after rotation after rotation with like very little to no break. And so like any little change in our schedule can throw you off, right? So I was like, no, we have to finish third year because we have to graduate on time, because we have to start residency on time. So I was like, there's no way they're gonna send us home, which, you know, they ended up. So I was like on my way to lecture, and we just got that email, and everyone looked down and then looked up, and we were all like, are they serious? And then we just left. And it was like the next day we woke up and we were like, we don't know when we're going back. Like,
but no, I thought we were going back like in 2 weeks. Like, I didn't think it would be the situation that we're currently in. I thought it was gonna be something really short. So I don't know, like the first day I was even like, you know, I was like, let's watch movies. It was not just one day, I did it for multiple weeks. But yeah, I thought it was like something just for short.
Yeah, there was like no direction, and like even our administrators like didn't know what to tell us, because like everyone had so many questions, and they couldn't really give us answers, because like this was not like no one expected this to happen. And this happened to like medical students all over the whole country. Like everyone got sent home because there wasn't enough personal protection equipment for everyone, right? And to expose all these medical students to something that you have no idea like what's going on, and it's just like your medical education is impacted, because let's say you're on a surgery rotation. All surgeries are like getting canceled. So really, what surgeries are you going into? Or like you're in an outpatient family medicine rotations. Like, if you're not supposed to go to the doctors unless it's an emergency. So everything's turning into telemedicine. So it's like we're not, even if we were still on rotation, we're not really getting the full breadth of like what you're supposed to be learning on that rotation. Yeah, so tell them like what happened. Like how were you how were you supposed to finish third year?
Oh, I mean, it was very up in the air in the beginning with our neurology clerkship. So I had 2 more rotations left. Neurology is 4 weeks, and then psychiatry was after that, and it's 4 weeks. So with the neurology clerkship, like it already has a lot of online like lectures. So it kind of already had like a virtual segment to it, because they already had a ton of lectures. So they were kind of just like, you know, watch the lectures you should have been watching. And then like, you know, you could take your shelf at the end of the 4 weeks if you feel ready, or you can take your shelf once we go back to the school once like school resumes, and you could take your shelf then. But of course I'm like, yo, I have all this free time, like I should just be studying and I should just take my shelf. So that's what I did. I chose to take my shelf. They even allowed us to do like a write-up if we had seen a patient the week before, so I did that. So like I wanted to knock everything out, because I'm like, when in the world will I ever get this amount of free time and literally just be able to really focus and really be able to study, you know, like the rotation that I'm on.
Yeah. Because usually, you know, you wake up early in the morning, you go to the hospital, you're there all day.
No time.
And then you're expected to come home and study for your shelf, which is like the national exam that you have at the end of your rotation. So on top of like working, you have to study once you come home. So now we just have to study. So we're like, yeah, we're just gonna study and take this test, whatever. So the same thing with me, like we just basically had to do some online stimulations to get like 2 weeks of credit towards our internal medicine rotation, because I had 5 weeks left of internal medicine. So I got 2 weeks of credit for like these virtual stimulations, and we still have weeks to make up. So I have 3 weeks to make up for internal medicine. So whenever we're allowed back into the hospital, like during our 4th year, we can decide when we have free time to make up those 3 weeks. For me, I have 3 weeks of internal medicine.
I had 2 weeks of neurology, and then because I didn't do psychiatry at all, I have 3 weeks of psychiatry. So in total, I have 5 weeks to make up.
Yeah, so everyone's like in a different track in 3rd year. So like people have to make up different times for whatever rotation. So it's like definitely abbreviated, but you have to like make up at least some amount of time. And then for our current like rising 3rd years that are now like they were 2nd year studying for step 1 and now they're 3rd years, I think they like abbreviated like their whole 3rd year schedule. So like surgery is normally 8 weeks, now they have to do 6 weeks of surgery. I think it's the same, like 3 weeks of psych instead of 4. So stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm not like totally certain about their schedule, but I know they're like a little different as well. So like everyone was affected amongst all tiers of medical students. Like 4th year, our last graduating class didn't get to graduate. They didn't have a match day. Like a lot of celebrations didn't happen.
Well, they didn't have a formal graduation, but they graduated.
Yeah, they're doctors. And yeah, so like that's basically how like COVID happened in this, like right now, like what happened to us and how we had to like quickly finish up 3rd year, take our like final exams, but we still have to make up that clinical time when we go back to the hospitals. So now I want to talk about like going forward. Now that we're 4th years, there's a lot of things that are about to happen pretty quickly. So your 4th year of medical school, you usually have to take 2 more licensing exams. So like last year we had to take United States medical licensing exam step 1. Your 4th year of medical school, you have to take a step 2. And there's 2 parts. There's a written exam and then there's a clinical skills portion. So they have both been largely impacted by COVID. So you want to talk about step 2?
Yeah. So as Crystal said, yeah, step 2 is 2 parts. With 4th year, it's like everything is already very like individualized and people make their schedule to their own. So like some people have their step 2 scheduled in like May if they finished internal medicine like Crystal, or some people had it in June, July. I personally had mine on like the later end in August. So people who definitely had it in May, June, they were heavily affected, like all canceled. For when we say, so sorry, that's step 2 CK, so that's the written one. Like a lot of people take that in May, June, July, August, and all of those have been like canceled for May, June, and like now the July ones are really the ones that are open July and moving forward.
There's some June.
Oh, there's some June. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it didn't affect me personally because like I said, mine was on the later end. But you know, I've been affected in other ways.
So yeah, so I was planning on taking my step 2 exam the beginning of June, but that did not happen because anyone that was scheduled in like April, May, all of their exams got canceled because the site that you take it at, Prometric, like canceled everyone because all businesses are closed. So all those people like got moved to like June. So like when I went to go book in June, like nothing was available. So now I had to take my test. It's scheduled for like July 13th. like praying that it doesn't get canceled, because a lot of prometric sites are canceling like half of their like examinations that day to practice social distancing while you're taking the exam, so you're not like all crowded up in a room. So now like the licensing people are trying to come up with a way to like have medical schools proctor the exam so that way all the people that have to take their medical licensing exams can take it. So it's not just us for step 2, right?
So
it's people who need to take their step 3 exam, because there's 3 parts, and their step 1, the people rising third years.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of people need to take these licensing exams to move further in their medical education, because we need doctors, right? Step 3 is very important for medical residents to become like second years, right? Like they take it their first year of residency, and to like advance they need to take this test. So they're like working on that. So tentatively, like a lot of people have been screwed. I haven't been that screwed. Like some people have been like studying since like April, May for like their step 1 exam, and it keeps getting like canceled. But whatever, we're like studying a little bit for it, like because it's still a little bit ways to go. Now step 2, clinical skills. That is a shit show, because that test is not like a written test. It's like a in-person test with a lot of like other people. So step 2, clinical skills, it's a part of our licensing exam that you have to take after your 3rd year. It basically tests your ability to be a doctor. Like it tests your medical history taking, performing physical exams, communication, diagnosing, and planning. It's a whole day, 8 hours.
It's so long.
It's really long. And you interview like 12 standardized patients in a room, and there's like a camera watching you, and you're supposed to like pretend to be a doctor basically. And it's like pass and fail. Yeah, it's timed and everything. So that was put completely on hold because of COVID. Basically, we can't risk other people getting sick or them infecting us. So no one like knew what was going on with step 2 CS until
like last week.
Yeah, like a few days ago
like
they came out and they were like,
ago.
because they canceled people even being able to book it.
Yeah, it's been on hold.
And they came out and they were like, we've come to the conclusion that step 2 clinical skills cannot be performed in person for this entire year. And we were all like, what? We were like,
should just cancel
they're
the
gonna
exam.
cancel it, because let me tell you, this test is $1,300.
Like what? And mind you, that does not include the other step 2 CK. That is just the clinical.
Yeah, because the other one is like $600. Like total, you pay $2,000, and
they only have like 6 sites.
They only have 6 sites all over the country. So the closest one is in Philly, and I didn't get a Philly site, so I was gonna have, and there was everywhere else was like booked. I was gonna have to fly to LA to take a test that I
don't sound
already
too bad though.
Paid $1,300 for. No,
that's true. That flight.
So
to pay for that flight.
I was happy when they said that. I thought it was gonna be canceled. I was like, oh, okay, good. Get rid of that test. It's unnecessary, right?
There's a petition going around to get rid of the test.
Yeah, because people don't want the test. Because, like, medical schools are constantly testing us with basically what this test is testing us for, right? Like, the standardized examination where we interview patients. Since our first year of medical school, we're constantly taking what's called an OSCE, which is like the same thing as the step 2 CS exam to make, and we have to pass it to like advance until the end. So it's like, why are
third year is all OSCE, basically.
All of them. There's a graduation OSCE. There's so many. It's like, why are we taking this test if our medical school is already making us do it? It's because of money. They want money out of us broke medical students. Like, I don't have enough loans. It's ridiculous. Anyways, there's a petition to get rid of it.
Sign it.
But they decided that it's not going to be in person. Instead, they're going to devise a telemedicine way of administering it.
I think that this is one of the features that could work in our favor. I'm actually not too upset about this.
You're not upset about the $1,300?
Oh, okay, yes. Okay. I think they should like give us like half of our money back.
Yeah.
But knowing them, they probably won't. But I think that this is like, I mean, first, like the safety wise, it makes complete sense. And then traveling, like we said, there's like only 6 sites. So like a lot of people do have to travel for it. So I think it is good to like minimize like, you know, the spread of COVID or potential spread of COVID. So I think it being telemedicine, yeah, it's not ideal and it's not exactly what like, you know, real life will be when we're actually doctors, but so is the exam. Like, it's already like stimulated, and like there's like the actors are supposed to say like a certain line, like, you know, so I feel like it's okay. And I think the even better is, like, you know, it takes a little bit of stress off, just a little bit of stress off, because like you get to do it online. The part that is still like apprehensive about is we don't know the details about it, so we don't know, because like how are we going to do a physical exam? Like, are they going to have us type out, like, if I was to do a physical exam, I would have listened to the lungs, I would have
That's the thing though,
done
like,
this.
that's the main
like,
component of what the test is supposed to be testing.
Yeah.
And how, oh my god, this dog is going crazy. How are you supposed to test it if it's all telemedicine? He wants to be in the video. So I don't know. And they said that basically it's gonna start when, in August, they're gonna roll out this telemedicine thing.
Yeah.
So we shall see. There's still more information to come out about it, but that's so far for our licensing exams, that's how they've been affected with COVID. They've been like put on hold and changed and all that stuff. So now we want to talk about our 4th year schedule and how that's been affected. So do you want to say how your 4th year schedule has been affected?
Yeah, so I think this is the thing that's affected me personally the most. I think most students, honestly, other than the boards. But for me, like, I want to go into anesthesia, and for me, my anesthesia, like, so we don't have in 4th year, you take an acting internship, and acting internship is like you're acting like an intern. So basically it's like your way to show out. Like, you're supposed to be doing as much work as the interns, maybe not exactly the same amount, but like at least trying and like showing effort that you're willing to. You're supposed to be like, usually we in 3rd year you carry like 1 to 3 patients per se, but like when you're on your AI, you're supposed to know a little bit about every patient, because when you're an intern, when you're a resident, you're supposed to know everything about every little patient.
And now we're supposed to be able to put in orders.
Yeah, like, oh, so that's a new thing that our school's adding, that like, you know, usually like we write notes and like it'll say like medical student template, but what they're adding in addition is that we can put in orders, so we could put in blood work, we can do all that. So it's like literally you are an intern, and they treat you like an intern, as they should. Like, I think that's really important, and people usually do it for 4 weeks. But there's only set rotations that are acting internships. Like, if you want to go into a specialized field, it doesn't have an acting internship. So anesthesia is that example. Anesthesia, it has an elective where you could do anesthesia, but your acting internship has to either be in general surgery or internal medicine. So I chose internal medicine. So yeah, my elective for anesthesia was supposed to be in June, which was like the prime time. That's when I wanted it. And then everything with our school has gotten pushed back a month. So we're supposed to be starting like June 29th. So my anesthesia would not start until July. And typically our school doesn't even offer the anesthesia elective in July, because that's when the new residents start. So this is them like kind of like giving us like being nice and be like, okay, we're gonna add it the month of July for you guys because we know we're already tight on time. But it's also a flaw, because in July they're very focused on the residents, as they should be, because, you know, like, the lives of patients are gonna be in the hands of the residents. So the attendings are focused on teaching them. So like, I was kind of advised that if I could push it even further, that I should push it. So I'm trying to push my anesthesia elective to September, which is later than I'd want it. But like, our application for 4th year has also gotten pushed back to like October. So I think I'll be okay, but like, that's the part that's just like, so like, what am I doing in July? Like, that's the part that's like, everything like still up in the air.
Yeah. And for me, my 4th year schedule, it hasn't been affected that much because so originally I was supposed to have my acting internship in July, and then I was planning on doing away rotations in like August, September, October, but they've all been basically canceled. The only reason that you should be doing an away rotation, they said, is that if your medical school requires it for graduation, which ours doesn't, or if your home institution does not have the what is it, like the field that you're going into as like a rotation. So if you're going into anesthesia and or whatever you're going into. If you're going to internal medicine and your school doesn't have it, you would go do an away rotation. But that doesn't like apply to us, so we are not allowed to do aways or not encouraged. What is it? How they word it? It was like a weird wording, like disencouraged.
Because actually you could.
Discouraged.
So right now with COVID, everything is still saying yes, like you shouldn't do unless like you literally have to. But like in general, people do aways also. It's like if you want to get a feel. Oh wait, are you saying just in COVID, or you mean in general why people do aways?
No, like why they were canceled.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like some people are still doing them, but like the aways I applied to, like they emailed me saying that the program was canceled because of COVID. So now I have all this free time. So originally I was gonna have my AI in July, but now my step 2 exam got moved up to July. So I was freaking out because I was like, crap, how I'm gonna study for step 2 and like it's right in the middle of my AI. But now my AI got pushed a month, so now it's in August, so that solved my problem. And now I just have like free time once we get back, because we're supposed to go back June 29th. So now I just have to fill up what would have been my away rotations with like electives and what I'm going into. So there's that. And then yeah, that's like all that's going on right now for our 4th year schedule. It's just like, because 4th year you have like a lot of free time to kind of do what you want to do. Like Brenda wants to go into anesthesia, so she wants to do like ICU rotations, and like it's like a lot of elective time for you to fill up. There's only like 2 required rotations other than your acting internship, and it's like emergency medicine
and PM&R
and physical medicine and rehabilitation, which not everybody requires, but our school does. So now like the biggest thing that has been affected for us is residency applications. So this is the year that we apply for residency. I think applications open in September, right?
Typically, yeah.
Yeah. So applications open in September for you to start like working on your letters of recommendation and your personal statement, like all that jazz, right? Your dean's letter. And
getting everything together.
Now residencies, application season is going to be interesting this year. Want to tell why?
Yeah, so one thing I did say, they pushed back the application deadline to have all your information in. So that helps because like, you know,
but only by how much?
Like 4 weeks or a little less than 4 weeks.
It's like 20 days.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't really know if how much difference that's really gonna make. I mean, it's better than nothing, because like especially like in my case where like everything is getting pushed back for me, like my AI, everything, like it's just all being pushed. I feel like I'm really close to that deadline that they've even pushed it back to, which is like October 21st or something. So yeah, that's one thing. Then the next biggest thing is they say, wait, these are recommendations. This hasn't been finalized, but like I think this is like the head.
But everyone's
like,
gonna
most
follow
likely
it.
they're gonna follow these recommendations that they gave. Is to stop in-person interviews.
Virtual. What?
So that is the biggest negative. I know everybody's like, oh, there could be positive, and like, you know, we should try to be
like
positive.
one positive.
But it's, nah, man, like this really blows, because it's like, first, I think it's really hard to connect with people, not completely hard, but it's definitely harder than in person to connect with somebody when it's like through a camera compared to like when they're right in front of you. Like I feel like they could like feel your energy and like your mannerisms more when they're right in front of you than compared to like a screen. And like you don't know what could be distracting them in that moment. Maybe like their phone buzzes or whatever. Like I feel like there's like they could be more like easily distracted, like, all right, like I want to get through this like virtual interview and like keep moving forward. And then like the other biggest negative is like we don't physically get the feel of the program. Like we're not there like touring the facility, the hospital, and like we don't get to interact with the residents like one-on-one to be able to ask them how their experience is. And like that is the most important thing, to be able to ask residents, how do you feel about this program? Like how has your experience been? To be able to get an idea. It's like, okay, like this group of residents seem like very similar to me. Like it seems like the institution like, you know, picks a certain group of people that like I think I would fit well with. Like everything, it's like, that's why it's called a match. Like you fit well with them and they fit well with you. So I feel like that aspect is like completely lost by doing it virtually.
Yeah. I mean, the only pro to virtual interviews during residency application season is that you save a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
So one huge thing that like we've always been given advices is like, oh, 4th year of medical school, take out like the maximum that you can for your loans, because you're gonna spend so much money on
not
flights,
the time to be cheap,
hotels, like travel, like all that stuff for residency. Because when you're applying to residency, like unless you're like region specific, you're usually applying like very broadly. Like if you're don't care about where you're going, you'll just apply everywhere, or like I don't know, not if you don't care where you're going.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like,
you're willing to move away from home.
yeah,
you're willing to
some
try
programs
new.
might not be in your region, and you're willing to, like, I'm very willing to go. I don't know, I shouldn't say anything.
Yeah, I feel like
like I don't know, but like you're gonna spend so much money during residency applications, like. And that's the only pro to virtual interviews is like you're not going to spend like on your outfit, I guess. But
yeah, I'm gonna have like sweatpants on the bottom, like, you know, suit
a blazer on top. But like that's the only pro that you can really say, because like let's say for example, like right now we live in New Jersey. Let's say I really want to check out like California programs and see what they're about. One thing about going there is that like not only do you get to interview there and see the hospital, is like you also get to see the area to see if you like the area, and you could see yourself living there for the next potentially 3 to 7 years depending on what you're going into.
Yeah, that's a big decision.
And it's like also like there's a lot of pre-interview dinners like the night before your interview where you get to like mingle with the residents, and like Bretta said, ask them a lot of questions that you wouldn't normally feel comfortable asking the, you know, faculty of that program, and like how their experience has been, see if you fit with them, because these are potentially going to be your co-residents. And it's like now we're getting stripped of that.
I mean, I'm sure they're going to do some kind of like virtual like meet
happy
residents, like, but it's not the same.
It's not the same.
And no matter
like
what, it's not the same.
You know how, I don't know if you've done this, but like during like Zoom meetings that you have with like your friends during COVID, and if it's like too many people are talking at once, and like there's not like side conversations going on, because usually when you're doing like meet and greets, like there's like, you know, you go off to the side with a couple people, you talk, like there's different conversations going on. But how are you gonna do a virtual meet and greet with like all these people at the same time? I don't know how it's gonna happen, but I guess we'll find out. So that's one thing. And then like we said, they pushed like the deadline by a couple weeks to give us time to get like letters of recommendations, because we haven't been in the hospital for the past couple of months. So we're gonna have to like, as soon as we get back, like speed it up on
I think once we get back to school, like I think everything is gonna be chaotic. Like it's gonna be chaotic, and it's just like I feel like it's gonna be, we're gonna be on like high speed, like just I mean it's just I think in my head, like what I'm gonna keep telling myself is like, this is not forever, this is not forever. Like it's just like a period of time in my life, but like once it's all over, like I'd rather go so hard right now, like, you know, like doing the best that I can, because once this is over, like I've seen my 4th year classmates, like my friends, like once they were done with interviews, how happy
living the life
their life was. And I want that, like I want that so bad. And I know that in order to get that, like we're just gonna have to work so hard. I feel like we're gonna be burnt out for some time afterwards, but hey, what can you do?
I've literally been like dreaming of 4th year.
Oh my gosh.
Since first day
year
of med school.
Like I kid you not, guys.
I couldn't
Like
wait.
I would walk by her room, be like, how's studying going? Yo, I can't wait to be a 4th year. Like I can't be doing
you
it.
don't have like any tests or shit.
I was like, Chris, and at that time, like it's so funny how fast moves. It's actually crazy because I thought she was like a little crazy thinking about 4th year and 1st year, and I was like, girl, like that's so far away. Like I don't think you should be thinking about that. Like I always try to keep bringing her back to the present, and I'm like, I don't really think we should think about that. It's just so far. But like, look at us now.
We
like,
here, baby.
And it like zoomed like crazy. So
yeah, it feels weird, but
crazy.
We still have a couple like more bumps in the road to hit before we get to like prime doing nothing time.
I mean, we kind of had that experience a little bit due to COVID, just a little bit. Like the beginning of COVID, we had some time to relax.
But like, it's gonna feel
but
really
it's gonna
good
feel so much better. Like
when we're done with
you
interviews.
still have like anxiety in the back of your head, like telling you like, yo, I need to study, yo, like what's going on with my life, yo,
Like, we
how's
still have
everything?
stuff too.
Yeah, we still have all these things, so it's not the same. But literally, once every obligation is fulfilled, that's a whole different kind of level.
Yeah. Yep. Because I can't wait, man. Okay. So like lastly, like the last thing that hasn't been pushed back is our match day. So our match day is still on the same day. I think it's the third Friday.
Oh, I don't know what day it is.
It's like the second or third Friday of March, always, like national, like everyone finds out. But the one thing about that is that because match day is not moved, but they moved up like interview season, that means interview season is cut short.
Yeah.
So that means they're gonna have to like interview, like the speculation is that if interview is shorter but match day is the same day, then they're gonna have to interview like less people for the same number of spots. So that could
I hope that's not
be
the case.
good or bad, like I don't know.
I hope they make it work.
So that is where we are in the grand scheme of things in our medical school education. We've been home quarantining, doing nothing. Not doing nothing.
No, we've been studying.
We've been
Yeah, we
studying.
still had our clerkships and
Yeah,
shelf
like we
exams.
finished our third year exams. We're like currently taking an online elective for fourth year. It's actually a COVID course, and we're learning a lot about COVID. Yeah. We actually have an assignment due tomorrow. I don't know if you know this.
I actually
Or a quiz.
I forgot
We
to
have
tell
like
you.
a quiz.
Yeah, we have some.
Yeah.
We have some
You
stuff.
think-
We gotta. I didn't know it was on purpose.
Cause it's like we're studying for other
It's,
stuff like in the back of
yeah.
our head. So yeah, that's how like medical students have been affected. We're every week we get new news. Every Friday we have-
I haven't been so like I wonder if this is how it's like when you're waiting for residency interviews, because I'm so on my email, like every time I hear the bing, I'm like, ooh, let me
like
check.
what's going on?
Is this our dean? Like our dean emails us all the time, so I'm like always looking to see what they got to say, because there's always some new update.
Yeah, and on Friday, like every Friday we have like a town hall meeting where it's like a town hall meeting.
I guess, yeah, I guess it's
Like,
equivalent.
it's town hall. And like everyone gets on, and like our administrators
Complains.
and like people ask like a million and one questions.
they
And I
ask
know
good
they're
questions.
tired of us.
Yo, they got patience, because I do appreciate our school.
I applaud you.
I do think that they're
applaud
trying,
all of them.
and like, you know, they don't know just like we don't know. Like it's not like they're making this up. Like
They're
they
just
have to
trying to
follow
calm
regulations.
anxiety.
Yeah, so I'm happy that they're like available to us. Like they're definitely available to us for sure.
Yeah. But yeah. If you guys have any questions about med school or like what's been going on that we didn't answer in this video, drop a comment below and I'll answer about what's been going on. And hopefully I can bring you some quarantine vlogs, but not much is going on other than studying and quarantining. But yeah, thank you guys for watching.
Thanks,
See you next
guys.
time. Bye.